I've probably read, I would say, 400 or 500 books. The ones that I'm about to share with you here are ones that I visit and revisit frequently. And the reason for that is this: when you read a book once, you are able to discern whether it's a good book or a bad book. But I believe that there's reading, and then there's something called active reading. Active reading is one, when you read a book and you realize this could be transformational in my business, don't read it just once. Go back and revisit that book 3, 4, or 5 times. I believe when you are 3, 4, or 5 times into reading a book, you start understanding it at a much deeper level. You start understanding what the author means. You start getting to a place of mastery. You will be in new phases of growth in your business, in leadership, in problem solving, in level of competition, in economic times, right? And there might be a chapter or a page or two in a book that you're about to read that is relevant today that wasn't relevant to you a year ago when you read it, for the second or third time. So without further ado, let's jump into the 8 books that every entrepreneur should read, the 8 books that have impacted my business the most and the way I lead, market, and influence. So first book that I want to tell you about is called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan. If you can start thinking at a 10X level, like what are the levers that I need to pull in my business to produce the 10X results? Because the reality is, the same amount of effort will create a 2X result, which means if you just grow your company or your business by 2X, it's going to take a lot longer to get to your desired destination. But if you could really come up with some 10X ideas that Dan Sullivan talks about in this book, then you're going to hit a whole new stride and you're going to hockey stick. Book number 2 is Traction by Gino Wickman. Traction is a great book that's going to help you go from 50,000 to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. It helped me take many of my companies from 7 figures to 8 figures and 8 figures to 9 figures. So what does Traction do? Well, Gino Wickman has this amazing system that he created called EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. And in EOS, the model is to get rid of the org chart, the organizational chart. In other words, traditionally you have the CEO and then the vice president, and then you got all the people under them, director of operations, director of this, right? Then you got all the people under them. Well, you get rid of the organizational chart and then you create an accountability chart. An accountability chart is who are the set of eyeballs that I need to look into if I want better marketing strategies in my company, if I want better leads, higher quality leads, more leads, right? What are the set of eyeballs that I need to look into for sales? If I want more sales, I want higher ticket sales, and I want sales that are going to have a lower probability of chargeback. When you have an accountability system like EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, it literally takes out the bottlenecks in your business and shines light on the opportunities that you've been overlooking. When I take equity in a company, it is written in the operating agreement that we create that for me to take equity means you, as a leader of this company, must install EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, in the company. And it almost makes it a fail-safe for me to know that that leader and the team are going to be held accountable to desired outcomes, datelines, like actual, dates when things will be produced, and not just lackadaisically go, well, sorry, we missed that goal, or we have a moving target. It's like you set a target, you set a deadline, and then you attack it. And that's what EOS does really well. Book number 3 is Influence by Robert Cialdini. And Robert Cialdini talks about the 6 psychological weapons of persuasion. And in this book, he not only teaches you what those 6 psychological weapons of persuasion are, he gives you examples of how to use them and examples of how they've been used in time and history so that you get a better picture of how you can use it in your business when you're negotiating with a business partner, when you're trying to make a sale to one or many clients or customers, when you're trying to negotiate with your team, or you're trying to influence or persuade your team because you're going into a new industry, you're going into a new country, you're going into a new market segment. If you can't persuade or influence the people who are going to attack with you, then you're going to find yourself always fighting resistance against your customers, resistance against your leadership team, resistance against your employees. And if you're always feeling resistance, then it makes your job as a founder and CEO infinitely more difficult, doesn't it? So, Influence by Robert Cialdini, an amazing book on the 6 psychological weapons of persuasion that will massively help you in selling your vision, not only to your employees, to your business partners, to your leadership team, to your clients and customers, and everybody involved. Number 4, Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Now, Russell Brunson wrote this book, I don't know, here we are in 2024. I think he may have written this book 5-6 years ago, if memory serves right. It doesn't really matter. The point of it is, it's more relevant today. Expert Secrets is more relevant today than it was when he wrote it. Now, if I were to go back in time, I might change the title from Expert Secrets to Authority Secrets, because the real idea is, how do you position yourself as an expert in an industry so that you can have greater amounts of influence and persuasion, very similar to Cialdini's book, right? Influence, but in a very different way, using the internet and social media and email marketing to position yourself as the expert. I like to say to position yourself as the authority or celebrity in that space, which is really about building your personal brand, because the more you can build your personal brand in an industry as an entrepreneur, the less resistance you're going to have to selling, right? When you're selling, people will buy from you if they know, like, and trust you. Well, if they know, like, and trust you, it's because they see you as an expert or an authority or a celebrity in that space. And think about this. It's easier today than ever to position yourself as an expert and an authority. And by positioning yourself as an expert and authority, what do? You differentiate yourself. Because whether you have supplements or apparel or a coaching business or your real estate or finance or whatever it is that you do, odds are you have a slew of competition. So unless your product is so much more better and different that you can uniquely explain how much more better and different it is, one of the biggest differentiating factors for you to stand up and stand out from your competitors in your industry is for you to be seen as an expert and an authority, as a celebrity. And today, more than ever, you can build your personal brand to be seen as an expert and an authority, even a celebrity in your space, so that the resistance to buying is lower, the desire to buy your stuff is higher, and the market share that you have is bigger. And who the hell doesn't want that, right? Hey guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian Show. I want to remind you about the Keuilian Wellness Shot. I created the Keuilian Wellness Shot because I wanted a product that was going to help you boost your immune system and fight off inflammation in your gut, in your joints, in your body, so that you are healthy, you don't get sick, and you live an awesome life. Keuilian Wellness Shots have these 9 ingredients that are going to absolutely help fight off inflammation and boost your immune system. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, ginger, turmeric, echinacea, B12, cayenne pepper, and black pepper. And every single packet is checked for heavy metals because our ingredients are top quality and we use nothing but top quality because we cut no corners. So you can use my name, Bedros, at Keuilian.com and get 50% off your Keuilian Tribe subscription. You not only get 50% off your first order, you also get free shipping. You get a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee, so that if you don't like the product for some reason, which we have yet to meet anyone who don't like the product, we will give you your money back, no questions asked, and we will shake hands and part ways as friends. And of course, $1 of every order goes to Shriners Children's Hospital, which is a hospital system that I've been helping and supporting for over 12 years. They provide medical procedures, medical services, surgeries to children whose families can't afford these procedures. So go to Keuilian.com, use code word Bedros, join the Keuilian Tribe. You get 50% off your first order and then 20% off your recurring monthly orders after that. Back to the show. All right, book number 5 that I'm going to recommend, which is 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. So in this book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, Patrick Lencioni lays out what those 5 dysfunctions are and how to cut it off at the pass so that your team doesn't have the friction that most teams and employees have out there, which slow down growth, so that your teams aren't working in a silo, because again, that slows down growth, and so that your teams aren't necessarily losing morale, which then produces a high level of burnout, which then produces a turnstile effect in your company. You're always hiring and firing, hiring and firing. And any company that has a high level of hiring and firing does not have sustained growth. So that's book number 5, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, Patrick Lencioni. Book number 6, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And John Maxwell has done such a great job with this book. This book is literally a classic in terms of leadership. Some things, the 21 irrefutable laws that he shares of leadership, some things are that you go, oh, duh, that's common sense. Other things are like, holy shit, I never thought of it that way, right? Like one of the big takeaways that I got was positional authority versus moral authority, right? And there's a lot of takeaways, but I just want to share that one thing. Like positional authority is someone's giving you the position, the title, the role of leadership. Well, that means the people that are following you, they have to follow you, but do they want to follow you? Whereas moral authority is you are liked, you are trusted, you are being followed because they want to follow you, not because they have to follow you. What John Maxwell talks about often across many of his book is that leadership is the lid. If you're like, nah, Bedros, I just need better marketing systems, better sales systems. I need to build my social media bigger and better. I don't need leadership skills. I'm a good leader. I'm here to tell you you're not. Like 9 out of 10 times, if you think you're a good leader, those are just your ego defenses that are up, and you're too egotistical. You have too much pride to realize you're not a good leader. And you also probably don't realize that the leadership is the lid, meaning your business can only grow to the level of leadership that you are, right? And so if you're I always say if you're a level 6 or 7 leader, you're not going to be able to hire 8s and 9s. Level 8 or 9 people are not going to work for a leader who's a 6 or a 7. And so the only way this is going to work effectively is for you to become a better leader, right? That has moral authority and not just positional authority. Of course, you're going to have positional authority because you are the man or woman in charge. But if you don't have the moral authority, you're not going to have the longevity of keeping your best people, and you're not going to have the ability to hockey stick your business like me and many of my coaching clients have done over the years. All right, number 7, Man Up by yours truly, Bedros Keuilian, right? I wrote the book because I had to learn the hard way of what not to do as a leader, entrepreneur, decision maker. When I wrote the book, Man Up, it's not about how to be a tough guy. It's about humaning up to your higher potential. And it talks, really, Man Up is about the 6 pillars of entrepreneurial leadership. And in Man Up, I had to go out and learn these. Some I had to learn the hard way through experiences of losing a lot of money, of losing a lot of time, of being massively stressed out and being on the brink of losing my businesses. Right? Other things here I was able to develop over time because I realized as my company is growing, I can't lead every department. It is time to start developing leaders. And sometimes it's time to start recruiting leaders. Like you don't have the luxury to develop a leader when your company is growing so quickly. So you have to recruit a leader. But Man Up really goes deep into the 6 pillars of entrepreneurial leadership. And every person that's read it tells me that they loved my book and that it's helped them and that they can relate to some of the issues. Because I openly talk about every stupid decision I've made that have cost me either time, money, or some kind of a relationship fracture. All right, and finally, book number 8 that I believe every entrepreneur should read is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This book, make no mistake about it, teaches you how to sell, how to influence, how to persuade at the highest level, from the stage, right? During his time, it was from the stage to the masses, right? From the soapbox, if you will, in 1937 to the masses. Well, today the soapbox is what? A podcast like this, a YouTube show like this, a social media platform, a stage that you're going to be able to speak to hundreds or thousands of people to. And how do you win their trust? How do you win them over? How do you influence them? How do you persuade them to your way of thinking? How do you get them to make the decisions that you want them to make that's going to be best for them and you as the entrepreneur? So How to Win Friends and Influence People, powerful, powerful book by Dale Carnegie, written in 1937, as effective today as it was then. And guys, I really want to stress this fact that active reading means you read a book more than once or twice, that you read it 3, 4, 5 times. And as your journey as an entrepreneur evolves, your team grows, your business becomes more complex, there's more moving parts in your business, go back to these 8 books and read them and reread them over and over again. And if you find some other books that you're like, dude, these other books were very helpful in the growth of my business or my leadership or marketing or sales, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop the names of those books in the comment section, because then we can create a mega list of books that every entrepreneur should read. But these are the 8 that work for me. I'd love to know what books you have read that have helped you as an entrepreneur in your growth as a leader, marketing, sales, etc.